It's a piece of legislation in the U.S. Senate now that is going to have huge implications for anybody who's ever faced a DUI in Canada, particularly if you ever plan to travel to the United States. So the new law is called the Protection of Our Communities from DUIs Act. And this has already gone through the first stages of congressional approval and is now on to the Senate. And what this law does is it makes it so if you were ever convicted of any DUI or any drunk driving thing, if you admitted to it, so even in social media or something like that, or you faced any potential administrative consequences, even an IRP in British Columbia, you will be deemed inadmissible to the United States. So bizarre that they've gone this route. Right now in Canada, there is a discussion about the fact that few thousand people over the last few years have been let into Canada with criminal records, and the Conservatives are trying to make it out like it's terrorists coming in. It's mostly people who had DUIs in like 1972 and things like that, and they want to come and go to Whistler with their family. But this is the American response. That started with Stephen Harper in Canada, where we stopped letting Americans in who had simple misdemeanor convictions, and sort of now we've got this circumstance where the Americans are responding with this piece of legislation, and it is far broader than anything that we've got in Canada. And really, like, it's hard to imagine who this is going to capture, because it is talking about even admitting to it. So you're at the border, you're talking to somebody who's a border guard, and you say, you know, they ask you a question, have you ever driven, you know, when you were drunk? And you say, well, in my 20s or something like that. You may be inadmissible to the U.S. at that point. If you received an IRP in British Columbia and the IRP was upheld, for years, people have been comfortable saying, lawyers from the States who do immigration, and even us, saying we've never seen anybody ever turned away from the U.S. on the basis of an IRP. But that may change, because despite the fact that an IRP is administrative, it may be enough to satisfy the requirements of this piece of legislation once it's brought into action. Admitting to it, I mean, that's shocking. A conviction is obvious, right? That just means the end of it. If you've got a conviction for a DUI in Canada, it looks like it's going to be just inadmissibility, period, to the U.S. I'd love to see some American lawyers weigh in on this, because I'd love to be able to properly instruct my clients or give my clients some idea about it. It's one of those issues that you've got American lawyers who have to interpret the law for people crossing the border, right? Canadian lawyers can interpret the law for people coming into Canada, but we have to rely on American lawyers for this. But this is a significant development, and it's going to have broad impact on a lot of people, not just Canadians, right? But a lot of people who are required to travel to the U.S., who have ever had some brush with the law, drinking and driving, or even have somewhere admitted it on the internet that something they did years before, or foolishly make some admission when they're being interviewed. Hasn't really hit the news cycle for whatever reason in Canada, but this is big news.